when you have your biggest days, as much as it's a win and you want to celebrate and it's exciting, it's also not. You also realize, hey, first of all, this is nothing. This was the big deal. This is the 5-figure day. My goal by the end of the year, I was working towards this one goal, having a 5-figure day, and you do it and you're like, okay, well, I don't think I'm at 100% of my capacity right now. Maybe I'm probably at 40% or so. That's always how I see it, right? I'm probably at about 40% or so. Am I really applying myself at 100%? Can I really do more? Definitely. Then you start to think, why haven't I done this earlier? Why didn't I get to this milestone earlier? I could have done more. Then you start to think, okay, well, what's next? This obviously changed nothing for me. And then, you start to look at the numbers in your account or in your, business account or personal account, whatever it might be. And you start to see those numbers that you thought would be the big milestones or the big deals. And you start to think like, okay, well, this is great. It's amazing. I don't want to take anything away from the win. It's a win at the end of the day. And I'm grateful for that. And all the great stuff. But that being said, I'm looking at these numbers and it doesn't change who I am. I'm sitting here. I'm still the same person I was a week ago before I closed this 5-figure deal. My mindset is roughly the same. I'm still doing the same actions. It didn't change me. These numbers are just a reflection of just the work that I've done. And then you realize you almost detach yourself from the outcome, and not in a negative way that you're not going to pursue outcomes anymore. Of course, you're going to pursue outcomes. In sales and business, if you're not pursuing outcomes, if you don't expect results, then nothing else matters. I was just in the graduation talk I just did this morning. I gave them a 3-point lesson on communication. And I'll give it to you guys very, very quickly here because it relates to this. And I tried to sum up, communication, and it was a communications class that was graduating, and they're just going into jobs and business and professional settings now. So I talked on communication in business and professional settings, and I tried to sum it up for them where I can really give them value and more tangible things. But the first point I gave them was having confidence and conviction in your communications. So anytime you're communicating in a personal setting, in a professional setting, especially in a business setting, you want to have absolute confidence and conviction. Some of the factors that go into allowing you to have conviction or preparation, you want to be prepared for every single thing that you're doing, for every negotiation, for every communication, for a job interview, whatever it might be. Preparation. Understanding the needs and wants of who it is you're communicating with. So what it is that they absolutely need to see from you or hear from you, and what it is that they would like to see from you or hear from you, understanding those things. And then intention, being very clear with your intention and getting your intention across, right? Number 2 was asking the right questions. And I basically told them, point number 2 here, if I had to teach you sales in about 5 minutes, I would probably say this is it right here. Asking the right questions, making sure who you're speaking to understands the questions you're asking and internalizes it and actually engages with your questions. And the third part of that, making sure you get an answer back to your questions, making sure whoever you're speaking to, not only are you asking the questions, not only are you making sure they understood your questions and are engaging with it, but you actually get them to answer your questions. And through that, it allows you to become a high-level effective communicator, because with the questions that you ask, being the right questions that are relevant to the context, you can gather intel, you can gather data, you can gather information. That intel, data, information is going to allow you to understand what they want, what they're looking for, what they need, and allow you to see how you can communicate the fact that you can provide that to them. You can communicate the fact that you have the solution to their one main problem. And that allows you to go to point number 3. And point number 3, which brings me back here, was expecting a result. In any communications, especially in a professional or business setting, you want to expect results, right? If there's no conclusion, aka close in sales, we call it the close in any kind of communication. If you're talking to your girlfriend or boyfriend or your partner, right? Same thing. It's a communication. You want to expect a result. You want to expect a conclusion from that. So I went over how to expect conclusions, and pretty much that until a conclusion is reached, that communication was not actually complete. It was just a waste of everybody's time. But once a conclusion is reached, once a deal is closed, once value is exchanged, whatever the exchange is, once a conclusion is reached and the exchange takes place, that's what wraps up a great communication cycle.